Coming up on Mountain News this morning, food pantries in the Commonwealth are having to rely on third-party donations to feed everyone. And one Eastern Kentucky community is still without a post office. They lost in the flood more than 1 year ago.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 5:32 on August 24th. Now let's check in with Chief Forecaster Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. And Brandon, there's a little bit of everything. I know that the main concern today and tomorrow is really that heat.
Right.
For sure. So people need to be careful, stay hydrated.
Exactly. And there's also that excessive heat watch that we had over for parts of West Virginia is now a heat advisory. So they upgraded that. A lot of people don't think that going from a watch to an advisory is an upgrade, but it is.
Yeah.
So that means it's actually probably expected to happen a little bit later today. That means heat index values of 100 degrees. So it's going to be a hot and humid day out there. But rain could literally put a damper on some of our heat, some of it here in the mountains. Let's take a look, see what's going on in Whitesburg this morning. Already a mild and muggy morning to start the day off down that way. Not a whole lot of traffic just yet. But again, it'll start to pick up here as folks start heading back off to work and school here in the next couple of hours. So just watch out for that. Temperatures already out there in the 60s and 70s. As we start the day this morning, we are looking at basically 75, the warm spot over at Jackson. 63 is the cool spot in Clintwood this morning. So again, just a matter of where you are on what you're seeing as you head out the door. Now, temperatures across the state and region, they're a little warm. Look back out toward Louisville, already 81 out there. We're seeing mid to upper 70s at a lot of locations, and we'll continue to see that trend head upward as we head through later parts of the day. 94 by 3 o'clock. Again, forecasting 95, but that's without rain. I still think we get to 90 because I think our rain chances move out fast enough for us to rebound if we see those. We'll keep an eye on that, keep you posted here in just a little bit. Olivia?
Brandon, thank you. We now know the name of the person who died in a crash in Pulaski County. We first told you about this on Monday. The Pulaski County Coroner's Office pronounced the passenger, 65-year-old Veronica Armstrong of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, dead at the scene of the crash. 63-year-old Curtis J. Justice of Grove City, Ohio, was operating the motorcycle and was flown out to UK Hospital with severe injuries. The crash happened between a car and a motorcycle on East Kentucky 80 and Squibb and O Road. An altercation that took place on a Clark County school bus yesterday left a student severely injured while his family is still searching for answers. Casey Martin says her 12-year-old son, Bo Baker, told her he had been hit by a high school student while they were on the bus, resulting in a head injury that required 8 staples.
First thing I immediately knew I was going to press charges to the fullest extent. I don't believe they should be attending any more public schools in here. I 110%, whatever they can be charged with, I want them charged with it.
Although the cause of the altercation has not been determined, Martin says a video of it was posted on social media and was circulating online. She says her son is recovering physically but is still struggling mentally. Natural disasters in Kentucky are increasing significantly. We've had 3 major events in less than 2 years, from a tornado outbreak to flooding to a windstorm. As meteorologist Ben Beddoes shows us, this can have an impact on your home insurance.
Natural disasters are happening more often. According to LendingTree, Kentucky has seen a 185% increase in natural disasters in the last 20 years. This increase is above the national average. In just the last 2 years, Kentucky has recorded several billion-dollar natural disaster events. The December tornado outbreak in western Kentucky in 2021, the historic flooding in eastern Kentucky in July of last year, and this year, the March 3rd windstorm that impacted nearly the entire state. These natural disasters are impacting insurance rates.
Weather is a huge impact on pricing with homeowners insurance. In the last year, I would say there have been so many events that have taken place. You have flooding in eastern Kentucky. We've had tornadoes in western Kentucky. We've had extreme cold.
Brooke Whalen of Brooke Whalen Insurance says weather has really changed.
I've been in insurance for 12 years, and looking at the last 12 years, weather has never been like it has been the last 2 years. I feel like there's been a huge movement in weather.
Whalen says wind and hail have the most impact on claims in the bluegrass. It's been difficult to try and keep up with the costs of natural disasters.
Unfortunately, insurance can only stay at a certain price until we have so many catastrophic events that the insurance companies are losing money.
So, what can you do?
A big thing that people can do right now is increasing deductibles. Anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500 would make a big impact. And a lot of carriers now offer wind and hail deductibles, which will also adjust that pricing.
I'm meteorologist Ben Beddoes, WKYT.
Hunger continues to be a big problem in the mountains, and some fear it is getting worse. Food pantries are looking to third-party vendors to get donations. Letcher County Food Pantry Director Vicki Holbrook says they get donations from a variety of stores in the county, in addition to their weekly pickups from God's Food Pantry. She says these donations are crucial for when they might be in a tight spot or low on certain goods.
And we have help from Food City, the major grocery store here. We also have it from Walmart, and 3 of the Dollar General stores donate to us. So that allows us to have bread, fresh bread, milk, some of their canned goods, that type thing.
Holbrook says these donations are crucial, especially if they see an increase in those needing their services. The Lost Creek community in southern Breathitt County is still without their post office building more than 1 year after the flood last July. I was able to speak with some community members about how mail is still being delivered, but the community is ready to see the building come back so the post office can serve at its full potential.
My heart medicine, my lung medicine, diabetes medicine, it lays there 20 hours a day. If I ain't sure to pick it up.
Sam Noble has been picking up his medication at the Lost Creek post office for many years. But after the flood destroyed its building, things got much harder.
Sometimes I ain't able to drive, can't go to Jackson, and I'll get some of my family to bring me here. It's a big community. It's just ridiculous.
With a temporary postal service now sitting next to the old building, it is only open a few hours a day, making it difficult for some folks to get there. Circuit Court Clerk James Turner says the community needs this sense of normalcy.
This is a hub for the folks of Lost Creek, just a community area that we desperately need to reestablish and reopen.
Saying it's frustrating for people because they're still having to drive to Jackson to buy stamps or get a money order.
The folks in southern Breathitt County need this post office, and the folks in Breathitt County are just as important as anywhere in the United States.
And they say they will continue thanking the Jackson post office staff for going above and beyond to ensure they continue to receive their mail in Lost Creek.
We got a fine postmaster. He'll help you any way he can, but he ain't got nothing to work with.
But they will continue hoping to see a change happen and their original post office building reopen soon. The temporary postal service is open from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. on weekdays and is open from 9 a.m. until noon on Saturdays. For the people working outside, the heat this week could be an issue. Joe Eberly with Precision Lawn Care says over time you get used to it, but not everyone is accustomed to spending long hours in the heat. He says you need to prepare yourself if doing prolonged work outside.
You might question it, but you do get used to it. If you're sitting in an air-conditioned building all day, and that's what you do mostly, it might look impossible. However,
Eberly also says to remember to take breaks while doing yard work outside, to not overheat yourself, and to drink plenty of water before starting any work as well. As schools get back into session, sickness is starting to rear its ugly head. Some of the people getting sick have COVID-19. In Laurel County, health leaders say about a third of their most recent COVID cases were from school-aged kids. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on the health issues there.
Late August could bring about an increase in sickness as kids head back to school. Laurel County had 140 new cases of COVID-19 reported last week alone.
For school-aged children, it's about 30% of the cases that we seen last week with school-aged children.
Well, the disease is spreading probably more commonly as kids get back to school. At the moment, knock on wood, we're not seeing a healthcare impact or a major rise there.
It's not as bad as it was last year when Laurel County reported more than 400 cases and 19 hospitalizations during the same time period. The symptoms, though, are pretty much the same.
The cough, sore throat, headache, fatigue, and things of that nature.
And all of this comes as there is word and talk of a new vaccine for COVID-19. It should be arriving to health departments like the one here in Laurel County shortly after getting approval from the FDA. The new vaccine aimed at new variants could arrive about the same time as the flu shot.
Probably a good time to go out and get both of those. Again, particularly if you're at high risk. I'd encourage everyone to consider it. But the people who really should seriously consider getting that updated shot are definitely people with major medical problems and people who are 60 or older.
Dr. Stack says people will be encouraged and educated, but does not expect any new mandates or restrictions. In Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Health leaders say the best advice is going back to simple preventative steps like hand washing and staying home when sick. A horse show in Magoffin County is asking folks to show up for the farm animals. 3 Mile Creek Rescue Farm's horse show is off to the races Saturday, bringing folks from all around for cash prizes and trophies at the Magoffin County Horse Park. Owners of the farm, Rob Elkins, says the event is all about showing up, showing off, and giving back.
100% of the money from this goes to our rescued animals, and we need it desperately to build our fences back, everything after the flood, and so we can bring our animals back home.
The Dorton farm is still working to recover after the floods last year. Elkins says he hopes these proceeds will help. Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Threads is making its way to your computer with a new version available online.
And the heat will continue for a couple of more days before a cold front this weekend will bring us some relief. I'll break down the next few days in about 3 minutes.